Battle control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. I've got a 1v1 multiplayer game on Kosovo map for you. I'm using France and my opponent's using France as well for this game. I haven't had a France v France matchup in, I can't remember the last time that happened, to be fair. It's rare enough I use France as it is. A lot of other players don't. They usually choose any. To be fair, a lot of the best players do choose any faction, but we're building our refineries at the moment. We've both gone for the standard barracks and power plant opener, but my opponent has built a concrete wall there. Now, you shouldn't do that. That costs 400 for one section here, and then if you place another section that's close enough, you get this full wall section. Now, concrete walls are brilliant, but that won't serve any purpose there. It just will not serve any purpose. I haven't got any units, and I want at this point that'll really be hindered by that. Plus, I'm not going to approach from that direction, to be fair. So at this point, it's 400 credits you can't afford to throw away. It's only 1 minute 17, 1 minute 20 into the game. Slightly ahead in army value. But I've left some rifles here because I played this player just before this and he launched early attacks in the previous game. So that's why I've got a few more rifles around here than I usually would. But I've taken my oil derrick as usual, the closest one, and I'm moving up to this one. But my opponent is actually capturing the central contestable oil derrick first. Almost identical army values at the moment, and now we're both building our war factories. My opponent's got his units here. I guess he's just checking out the direction his engineer's going in. I've captured this one here now. I'm surprised he'd go for the central oil derrick and the more distant one before he went for the closest, to be fair. But, it's I wouldn't expect them to do that, so, that in itself is a good reason to do it. Usually this one has been taken by the enemy because it's the closest, so they go for it first and then muster a group of units to go for the most contestable, which is what I do when I've got a scout vehicle. And you see I've got rocket troops in this group of infantry here, so I'm sending my rockets and to meet this group of rifles, but I do want to keep rifles in my base because, like I say, I fought this opponent before. I'm trying to get my scout vehicle in front and I'm losing rockets here. That's a shame, I've lost all my rocket troops. Almost losing my light tank as well, but these guys are back just in time. They've distracted them for the time being. I wasn't sure what had happened there, why they were still alive, because I didn't think I'd taken them all out, but this is why he's sent them to check out the oil derrick. And he's captured this one. That's a colour it's hard to tell, especially on this map where it's lighter. It's hard to tell when light green that an oil derrick has actually been captured. Only slightly, but I've actually approached one not realising because of that colour. But it doesn't matter, it's no big deal. All you have to do is look carefully and you'll see. But that, obviously, you can tell a mile off, whereas that, not so much with the colour of the grass and the tile set. But it looks like he's making his way to this one as well. And he caught it out. I haven't got anyone there to defend it, especially as I lost my early rocket troops. I've got a rocket deficiency. I've only got 2. I've got my light tank, but yeah, and I'm taking damage here, look. And before my rifleman gets a shot off, he was caught in the explosion. Never mind. So we're almost at we are, just for a moment, yeah, we are again, identical army values. So that's a good sign. My opponent's moving around this way. Maybe send a rifle or two, but there's no point sending them. I'd regroup at this point if I was him. I could hit his base at this point, but, you know, we haven't got large armies. My opponent's slightly ahead in army value now. Yeah, looks like they've been ordered down. They've just, because of their unit pathing, they've ended up coming back this way, these three. But he's ordered an attack on my base with a small group, and he'll be able to see this oil derrick being captured because it belongs to him. So he'll have view range and he'll see this. Looks like he's sending some units. But I've captured the central oil derrick. So we have one each at the moment. And my engineer, I was moving him out of there and I've positioned to take use of the view range. See how the view range of the oil derrick is here, look. That gives me a bonus in view range so I can start shooting before the enemy can see me, look. See that? He can't even see my troops and I'm shooting him. But he has sent a force here at this small group and caught me out. And a couple of rocket troops are enough to damage a power plant. Look, you see his view range. Now he's destroyed that oil derrick. I couldn't get my light tank out of there in time. But I did win that engagement. Something's tried to move past here because he's a veteran. And my engineer is now on a shift order to capture the oil derrick and get back to here. Get back to home base. And I am rallying troops here, but I've got fake structures on the outskirts of my base. Here and there, there's a fake structure. And light tanks aren't going to cut it. Now it's nearly 7 minutes into the game. We've got our expansions up. Light tanks aren't going to do the job now. I've got medium tanks rolling out. And when I saw tanks dying here like that, that's when I had the idea to start producing mechanics. I'm not producing one yet, but maybe I hadn't had the idea at this point. Yeah, there's a mechanic, look. And it was for the wrecks and things, and I thought I probably won't be able to get to that wreck in time, but I'll have them ready for when I do need them. And I've got my home base MCV moving out here to secure this ore patch. And I ended up placing a refinery there because of my build order being interrupted. But here's my mechanics moving up. And my opponent is moving into position nicely here, and he's caught those mechanics out, look, and my construction yard is vulnerable. So straight away I decide to back off with that and send these guys in, but I thought, no, I've got to get out of there, I can't leave that in place, and these light tanks absolutely rip it apart, look. But I've got engineers on hand. So, a mechanic I mean, so I send a mechanic straight in and the enemy sees it, he targets the construction vehicle again and he destroys it again. And then I send a mechanic in and repair it, bring it back to life again. Now the two remaining mechanics can then repair it a little bit, but in the meantime I actually set it up and repair it. So that was a double MCV salvage for you. And this group of units haven't got a chance against this horde. I've even got mechanics healing my tanks among there. There's two of them. They're healing my tanks. And my opponent didn't carry on with his wall construction. He was right to, especially because it was so early. But the army values now won't be like they were. He was ahead. Look, it's 23-2. That's that aggression decided it. And he did push in order to destroy the construction yard. And he sent those light tanks into the mass of my units in order to destroy it. So me taking that back did negate what small advantage he did gain. By taking that out, I negated it by fixing it. But I was going to send this small group of units and look for an expansion here. You see now he's got infantry travelling without vehicles, and that's okay as long as they don't get stopped on the way or interrupted on the way. As long as you send tanks, not artillery on their own, but tanks to catch up in the meantime before they reach their objective, then that's fine. because infantry are slower than tanks, so if you send them together, the tanks arrive first. But there's a mine layer, and it comes with the service depot tech with the mechanic and the mine layer, but my enemy's got an artillery piece, look, and I've attacked here. He was about to set up an expansion, but I switched from attacking that to the helipad because I wanted him to pack up and drive off, and then I was going to destroy it and repair it with the mechanics, but he didn't. He sold it instead. He was too smart for that. But I'm moving this MCV out to get some more expansion room. But he's caught me with that group of infantry that move around here. They just, luckily they didn't get my engineer, but they caught that power plant straight out, and I've got a fake there, look, in case he finds that. But he's got no rocket troops in there, so this attack force is absolutely useless. And these units here, I'm attacking up here at the same time, look. And I've got my mechanics ready to take any damaged vehicles. But this group here has only got machine guns, so I tell my mechanic to do guard mode on my tank, and you press the letter D with the mechanic selected, or any unit, press the letter D and you get a little icon, and then click on point at a unit and click, and they'll guard that unit. Whatever you've got selected when you press the letter D, when you click on a unit to guard, whatever the units you've got selected will collect it. But here you go, there you go, there's the mechanics capturing those structures. But yeah, whatever units you've got selected, say I do these and press the letter D and point at this tank here, when I press D and then click the icon, all these units that I've got selected would then guard that one tank. So that's what my mechanic was doing in this situation. I had a mechanic on guard mode. Now he's not, because I've ordered them down. But that's what I did. I had a small force of infantry to stop the enemy attack, and I placed the tank up front, and a mechanic pressed the letter D and had him on guard mode with the tank, because they'd never have killed it with rifles. I didn't use my mine layer in the end because I didn't need it, but yeah, I brought those mechanics. If I've called them engineers, sorry about that. But I brought those mechanics. Look, I've taken one ore truck, and the best use of them obviously was fixing my MCV twice. So that was a nice little touch, that. But there you go, there's some of the basic service depot level tech. It's just a shame I didn't get to use the mine layer, but I could have laid some mines here or here, but it wasn't necessary in the end. But there's a basic game with France there for you. I'll just go through the graphs and charts and that. Look, it was even, and my opponent did have a larger army until these central engagements started, and he sent in a couple of groups basically and he couldn't recover after that, after he lost them, because after 6 minutes, is it? It's just downhill for him. Here's the earnings graph, fairly even up until that deadly sixth minute for him. So there you go, my finishing army. I've got 14 medium tanks, mechanics, 122 rifles, 33 rockets, so I'm okay for units. Lost 3 structures each, so I hadn't destroyed all of them, by far from it. I'd just overrun him, so he called it. But I've destroyed 41,000 in value. My opponent destroyed 12. No support powers in effect as yet. I've got my radar dome though, because I wanted to get tech as early as possible. I've got my second war factory, and I've even built a radar dome before I placed a refinery here, look. So I was just securing this area here, and the radar dome was a high priority for me, but I never got to use it, sadly. Yeah, I'm not building anything special. I'm building an advanced power plant, and you get them from the radar dome. Here's the economy. I spent 79,000. My opponent spent 55,000. I've got 10 harvesters, 10 ore trucks. So, that's nice. I've managed to defend them effectively. And I've got a little bit of cash and some nice amount of income. Here's the basics. I'm at 30 actions per minute again. I was in a game earlier. And 21 actions per minute for my opponent. There's the basic chart. Combat chart, 184 kills to 52. But, it was a fairly brief game, so You know, that sort of thing. A game can go any way when it ends quickly like that. You can lose one engagement and then that's the end of it. It doesn't matter how good you are if you're at a big disadvantage. It comes down to your opponent has got the advantage and they'd have to make a mistake for you to be able to come back. Sometimes that's just the case. But there you go, there's all the stats and graphs, and I hope you enjoyed the game. There's an allied game for you with France. But if you liked what you saw, give us a sub and a like. And until next time, take good care of yourselves. And for now, goodbye.
Battle control terminated.